Hi, this is Plenty with Sulo with Daily Mirror Online. This is a special segment on International Women's Day. Be tuned to Daily Mirror. Plenty with Sulo are partners. Clothing partner G-Flock, hair and makeup Mosh. You have to visit Mosh at Ward Place and Ramada, and the venue partner Cafe King Ross. Be tuned to Daily Mirror Online. Today we have a special guest. Why I say special guest? She's very close to me. She's someone who mentored me. My career was started with her. She is none other than Mrs. Dawn Austin, the Managing Director of Nidro Supplies, and also she's connected to Nidro, Nidro Diamonds. Am I correct?
Nice All Diamonds.
Nice All Diamonds.
Eden Fresh, which is the processing arm for Nidro Supply.
Okay.
And freight forwarders.
Freight forwarders.
What else can I tell you? Okay, so there's lots of other bits and pieces, which is that I also work with industry-related organizations promoting agriculture, promoting good and ethical practices in business, and just lots of things on the sideline, including women's empowerment, supporting women who try to do a job under difficult circumstances. So it's not just about a job, it's about a lifestyle.
That's very true. As I said, she's very special. Because I think today who I am, mainly because if you ask me how you got into a corporate career, who inspires you, I always say it's Mrs. Austin, and I'm honored to have you in my show.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege, and I just am so proud, Sulo, of what you have achieved with your life. For me, and I mean, to see you today, 30 years later, how much?
Yeah, 30 years later.
30 years later, driving a business, but it's a business with a heart which has empowered thousands of lives. You don't know who you touch on a journey. That's not your business, actually. We are only here to be the best that we can be and help others to be the best version of what they can be. Right?
Yeah.
And each person tells a story. From a certain perspective, you need to understand that every single one of us carries baggage.
Yes.
Right? Do not think that anybody's life is perfect. Right?
Imperfect lives.
And it's when you can, if you can help somebody realize their strengths, then their weaknesses diminish. Right? For me, I can't tell you how many people have passed through my working life, and yet I like to be able to get a little more of somebody's personal background. When I first started, when we first started our business, which I'd like to proudly say is 50 years old this year, when we first started our business, we didn't have a goal. We were not going anywhere. It was an opportunity, and I'll tell you more about how the opportunity happened. And it was out of circumstances which were not very secure. So, for me, going back in time, when I first got, and I use the word humorously, sucked into business, I was a mother of 3.5 children, in that I was expecting my 4th, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting my 4th. And the situation, the economic situation in the country was such. A lot of some of the more formal businesses were nationalized, and we had to look for new avenues of income. And even as I look back on it now, I think I am quite spiritual. And I always believe that God never closes one door without opening another.
Yes.
But sometimes we forget to look for that other door.
We are looking at the closed door and waiting.
Absolutely. But when your back is against the wall, remember that there's another opportunity somewhere. And for us, that opportunity actually came through friendship. And we started a business of ship chandling. Where at that time, Sri Lanka, everything was nationalized. And food cargo, a lot of you won't even remember it, but everything was rationed. And food cargo was being brought into the country by the government. And these ships would come to port, and it wasn't mechanized. A lot of discharging of cargo took, sometimes a ship would stay in port for a month. So the crew on the ship had to be fed. And this friend of ours actually had the agency for some of the shipping lines. And he said, you know, we're really struggling because our crew have to be fed. So I'm thinking of setting up a business. He didn't call it a business. He said setting up some kind of support for them. And so my husband and I thought, yeah, we can supply your ships. And so that's how it started. But it wasn't long where again, through other contacts, we were probably different in the port. The British and American naval vessels used to call into the port of Colombo. And they would also need supplies. And that was at a highly, a much more, what shall I say, sophisticated situation. Because you always think, no, these foreigners have to be dealt with more special.
Agree.
Right.
But those days when you started it and compare it to now there are a lot of support system for women. But still, women look at entrepreneurship as the final option, right? How do you look at, if you were to start now, do you think that you will go on to these all the systematic of entrepreneurship, everything?
I'm not a systems person,
Okay.
right? And whilst I think there's a lot of credibility, I mean, I can't take away from the credibility because also education systems have changed.
Yeah.
And children are growing up in a structure. So even to start a business, they overthink it. In our case, there was no leadership. You became your leader,
Yeah.
as did you. Look at your own life. Did you set out to be what you're doing today? It was a necessity and an opportunity. You could have walked past it and continued in the line of what you were doing.
Same corporate.
Yeah.
So will you use the same pattern or same way will you restart it?
No, I don't think so. I think things are so different today. For a start, I don't know that I could start in today's environment, to be honest, because you have to make a business plan. You have to tap into the right resources.
Yes.
To my simple way of thinking, you're overthinking before you even start.
Before you start swimming, you want to know what's the water and how it.
We just plunged in the deep end.
Yeah, that's true.
We took an opportunity and we just got on with it. And no, to answer your question, I have last year started a new business, but again it was through necessity to support one of our other businesses, right? But the paperwork was horrendous. And for me, this filling papers, filling forms, just to get going, and it took me 3 months. We worked in a very informal manner. We put in place a structured business, but it started.
Formal business has come in with too many work rather than the practical execution.
Exactly. And I'd be interested, I mean, in your organization, you foster entrepreneurship. Would be interesting to see how many of those people that you fostered 10 years ago are still in business.
Very true. Sustainability and that
Sustainability is something that it is overthought. I don't think there's one size fits all or one pattern is the same for everybody. But look at the number of startups that fail.
because a lot of people use buzzwords in today without knowing where they want to go. And also, I think, as you said, you have to have a necessity and you have to have a desire. That matters for entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And you don't clock watch.
You don't clock watch. That's a good word. Clock watch. I'm coming to something completely different because I have known you for so many years. You are being mother, wife, grandmother, right? And you are wearing so many hats. And still, we look at you as someone, as a mentor, inspiration. And when we want some advice, we think of you. So how, because now a lot of young women want to be independent, so they think marriage is something they have to avoid. But you did everything and you're still doing it and you're enjoying it. So how will you look at those things?
Firstly, let me tell you, do not devalue relationships. Marriage can go one way or another, but those children that you have because of that they are your biggest cheerleaders.
Yes.
Right? So I couldn't have done what I did without the support of my family. I was blessed with a husband who cheered me. And of course, I must also tell you, if you remember, my home has always been next door to my office.
Yeah.
Right? So I was very blessed that I could be there for my children. I mean, you have to have a structure, you have to have a routine, you have to give them schedules. But at least today's young women, they travel a lot to get to their jobs. And home help is not that easy.
Because a lot of...
Look at you. I'm going to interview you. You tell me, how did you were a single mom and you brought up two beautiful children, right? What was your success?
I think that's why I said I always look at struggles as opportunities, and I never gave up, and I enjoyed being a mother. Yeah, there's ups and downs, and it's not every day is not going to be.
Sometimes it's terrible.
It's terrible, and wish that you were not taking that responsibility, but then life is that. So that's what I enjoy. I have so much to ask from you, because from yesterday night I was thinking about a lot of things, because I have interviewed from the year 2019, but everyone comes with their own stories, but you have so many stories, because I always say I'm a product of, I came to corporate from you. So I've been having that more than the experience. I always say what you have given to your employees or your colleagues is the drive with a value system, right? So my final question to you, Mrs. Austin, does value system has a value in today's world?
Unequivocally, yes. Because unless you have base values, unless you are unmovable from the values that you possess, I'm very proud to say that for me, values are about doing the right thing at the right time. Right? And before our company was awarded the Most Ethical Exporter of the Year award, what I was told by the people who did the audits later on was that it wasn't just system driven. There was a thought process that guided those systems.
Yeah.
Right? And for that, I would recommend that every religion teaches you to do the right thing. For me, my Christian faith has been a guiding line. And I am responsible for the final outcome. I'm accountable, I'm answerable. And when I think of do systems work, I think yes. It may not be a dotted line that you connect the dots. You have to look at the situation, do the right thing.
Do the right thing. So this is Mrs. Austin. And she said value system matters. It's not just the value system. Do the right thing at the right time. So that's what all about. She's one of the most inspiring and influential women in Sri Lanka.
Oh, Thank you. I don't know that
No,
I'm
big-
inspirational like
She
that.
is, because I have huge respect to her. And for the young viewers who are watching this and listening to this, remember there's a path, and do not wait for opportunities. Look at struggles as opportunities. Take the risk and drive your passion. This is Plenty with Sulo with Daily Mirror Online.